Hello and welcome to
Hey, we like your pod.
And we're going to tell you why. Hi, it's Dawn here, back home, and joined as always by my trusted, patient, and faithful partner, Matt Pickett. How you doing, Matt? How was your week? Except for Monday, excuse me.
Whatever.
Yeah.
That game. I'm good. It's been kind of feels like middle of October kind of week as far as like where my head's at, because it's just like we're in the midst of advising season, so just kind of chugging along through that. But I did grill out tonight, so I had some cheeseburgers for dinner, so real happy about that. And
nice.
Can't complain too much. I just got a new phone over the weekend, and I'm loving that. So things are good. Nothing to complain about really. How you doing, Dawn?
I like it. What kind of phone did you get?
I upgraded from an iPhone SE Generation 2 to a 13, which I know that's not the cutting edge at this point. We're back to models from like the newest, but I don't care. It's good. I like it a lot actually. So really happy with it.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I just got the 14 Pro, and then I didn't know the 15 was going to be so close behind. I would have waited. So I might just complain and see if I can get it for free. I probably can. It's not that hard to get them because you're paying for it when, sort of anyway. So yeah, cool. Well, let's see. I'm home from Wisconsin. My mother had her medical procedures, which were very involved, and she's doing better.
Good.
I would have stayed longer if she needed me to, but I was there, as you might know, if you're listening to our podcast, for about a few weeks. So it was just my pleasure to be able to help her. I was so glad that I was there at that time because it was just the right thing at the right time. So, and then of course, Tosh came with me, and I could not be more proud of this cat. The way she traveled and just had a good time, wherever she was, which is not like cats usually aren't like that. Cats are usually not like that at all. They're not like dogs. You don't just pick up a cat and bring them to another cat's house and, but Tosh is just that way. She rolls with the punches, and it makes me feel really good about our future travels together.
Yeah, it's not easy to move cats from place to place. So that's definitely how it is with cats. They're kind of difficult like that. So glad that that was that went as smoothly as it did.
She's meowing at me right now. She wants to go outside, but I don't want her to go outside at night until I build the new catio system. Because but it is. I mean, they're very territorial, and you have to be super careful. And I guess I'm proud of myself too, because I did a lot of research. I checked into it. I checked with the vets, did everything by the book, and she handled it really well. We had a couple of dicey moments. Going through Chicago O'Hare, for some reason, they wouldn't let us go in a private room for TSA check. And they're supposed to, but I'm not going to get in an argument with a TSA agent. Well, guess what happened? So they had me take her out to take her through the radar detector.
Radar detector. As it's in case you're carrying a radar under your clothes or in your shoes. That's why you walk through a radar detector. Yes.
So I got this squirmy cat, I'm holding on to her, and guess who failed the test? So then I had to get pulled over while she was still out, like squirming around because they took her carrying case of her backpack away, and they had to do a full check on me. I failed again.
Oh, no.
Then they had to do another one. I failed. Then I ended up in the room, right? I'm like, this is the room I wanted in the first place.
That's where you want to be. Alan, you shouldn't carry your radars into the airports.
My radars. I'm like, what is it? I said, maybe, my sister brought me, my brother-in-law's maybe a hunter or something. Did I pick up? No, they said, your hands are testing for explosive chemicals. What? And I was like, what? And they said it's true that some lotions and that kind of thing will test positive for that. And it's like, well, I don't know what I did, but I never passed. I had to get approval from like the highest up TSA guy had to come down at O'Hare and interview me and check me off and look me in the eye. And he's like, I'm sorry, ma'am. Sometimes this just happens. And I was like, okay. Yeah.
Did
So
they make
then
you wear like oven mitts on your hands then for the whole plane? Use them as a weapon? Is that how that went down? Or
no, they just said, get to your gate with your cat, man. You're on your own. And so I had to go running through O'Hare with a cat in my backpack, and my assistant, my helper, was gone, and I was just like, okay, here we go. But yeah, she was great both ways. She was able to sit on the seat next to me in her backpack, and she really brought a lot of joy to other travelers too. That was kind of cool, the kids especially. So it was a good experience that way. So I was always hoping she'd be a good traveler, and I've taken her to restaurants and walks and things like that around here. Not a ton, but yeah.
Okay, so two follow-up things real fast here. First of all, cat in a backpack sounds like some sort of weird, like folksy phrase, like he's crazier than a cat in a backpack. And the second thing is you've taken Tosh to restaurants? What now?
Yeah, like for example, there are restaurants that allow dogs.
Yeah, sure.
So I bring my cat. Like, dude, I
haven't seen that. I mean, because there's a lot of dog places these days. Everyone loves dogs, right? But I haven't seen cats in places like that.
I don't think most people bring their cats with them. Like,
well, no.
But like for example, right over here, it's like a half a mile from me. There's a little French restaurant. It's really French people, and of course, in Europe, you bring your dogs. It's not uncommon to have dogs come to the restaurant, and so that was when she was little. I started bringing her there. We've gone to Indian food. If they allow dogs, I bring her if I want to bring her.
I like that.
Yeah,
might as well. Rights for cats too. Hashtag cats rights.
That's right, cats rights, and I always keep her, on her harness and and she doesn't really want to go anywhere away from me anyway. She just kind of hangs with me, and yeah. So yeah, she had a little practice beforehand. She's not the first time in her backpack, and we've gone down to the beach and things like that. I've kept her inside. I let her out a couple times on the trails and with her harness, but she doesn't seem real interested. She's like, this is overwhelming. Let me have my backpack.
Yeah, I bet.
Which is better. I'd actually rather that. I did notice this week, I just got home Saturday. It feels like, I don't know, my time is really all messed up. But this week, when I was doing things out in the back and I would open the door, in the past, she would just stand by the door or peek, but she actually wanted to come out with me. So I think she's got a little more confidence about the outdoors, which I'm not sure. I have mixed feelings about. So anyway, so that's about it for my brain. My brain's a little tired. I did get a concussion this week. On top of everything else, I'm not feeling great in the first place. And so it's interesting. They said, don't do things that you're required to think really hard. And I kind of forgot about that. And I was trying to do my Wordle. And I'm like, no wonder I can't think at all. Like my brain is just, I don't know. It feels really weird. So yeah, it's been a week. It's been a few days, and not even a week since I've been home. So
yeah,
but I loved it. I love being in Wisconsin, and the colors were starting to change.
Ooh, nice.
My mom's doing better. I got to spend time with my sister. The last night there, actually, my mom wanted to go out with us to dinner, and I was surprised. We took her in the wheelchair, and we went. This is so Wisconsin. We went to the Mosquito Inn, and we had a perch fry and played cribbage.
Ooh, that's exceptional.
It was just. I had old fashions,
of course,
and Lori had spotted cows.
And I assume they were like brandy old fashions, right?
Lori's like, you have to have brandy. I think I had a brandy at one place the week before, but this time I was like, no, I have to do whiskey this time. It was just too, I just had to, yeah.
I mean, that would really seal it as being so very Wisconsin. Right. A brandy old fashioned on one side of the table, a spotted cow on the other. Like, forget it. It's the most Wisconsin thing you could say. That is awesome.
I had the brandy the week before, so
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but you're with us tonight, which is good because it sounded
Yay!
like a little touch and go for parts of the week
Oh,
here.
sorry
So,
about that. I'm so sorry.
oh, sorry about life dealing you blows to the head,
Oh my
etc.
God.
Like you can't help for that. You can't help that. So no, I'm just glad you're able to make it tonight, Don.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here, and I appreciate our guests helping us with the schedule so that I could not tax my brain too much more than it already was.
We have a very special guest in December who was very gracious to reschedule.
Oh,
We're looking forward to having a podcast with her for sure. So
for a long time, that'll be great.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Maddie. So, you want to talk about tonight's game, or want to get to our superlatives?
Well, just a note about tonight's game, because right now, as folks hopefully know by now, we record on Thursday nights. So, going live at halftime here of the Chiefs and Broncos game. A lot of sloppy football in the first half. I'm surprised it's not like 3-0 given like the disparity in quality level of these two teams. But I don't know if the Chiefs are just kind of like, not giving their all because they don't have to.
Right.
The Broncos are so bad. I don't know. It's a weird little game happening, but that's Thursday night football. There's always weird stuff. It's kind of expected.
Yeah.
I'm surprised after last season they would even consider having the Broncos on Thursday night, but I guess every team has to be on at once. Isn't that how that works usually? Am I right about that? Do you know?
I'm not sure. And I think with the Amazon, they had they kind of reconfigured everything. So that was last year. So I'm not sure how that all played out. But yeah, Thursday night football has become kind of very rarely super exciting game.
Yeah. Yep. And that's what we have here tonight.
And that's what we had on Monday too, really. Thanks very much.
What are your thoughts on Monday's game, Don? Do you have any thoughts or opinions or feelings about Monday's game?
Yeah, I mean, I felt like Monday was the Sunday game that you and I watched, but only without the last quarter.
Yes. It should have been an exciting ending, and they just couldn't quite put it together.
Yep. And there were so many chances for them to put it together, but then also it's just that's what happens with a young team. It's not cohesive. Yes, we expect better. I'm sure Matt LaFleur expected better. But yeah, there's a lot to work on. And so this might not be a very good year for the Packers, but I don't care because it's still joyous and light and fun. And I love our team. I love our team a lot. I like the guys each, you know what I mean, individually and as a team. And I'm 100% behind our QB and our coach until proven otherwise. And I haven't been proven otherwise just by this season yet. I don't think this is a decision-making season for me as a fan. Like, should somebody be fired or something like that? Well, except maybe one person, but yeah.
One defensive coordinator. Exactly there, Don?
Although the defense did pretty well this week. So
yeah. I mean, that's I feel like that's the Joe Barry experience. It's like he'll get you so angry through a series of games, just like, why is this guy still around? And then like the defense will kind of show up. You'd be like, okay, fine.
Do you think the defense showed up because of play calling, or because of the players?
That's a good question. I feel like the scheme and the play calling isn't always awesome, and we saw that a couple of times where it's just weird calls. I'll be talking a little bit about the really great article that Justice Mosqueda wrote for Acme Packing Company. I might as well get into it now. So this is a spoiler superlative since we're in it. Yep. So to jump ahead a little bit here, the whole idea that like there's a specific sort of defensive scheme they had going that was just a bad match for exactly what the Raiders had called at that moment, which is what led to Preston covering Devontae for a play. It's not like it wasn't the case that Joe Barry's like, all right, Preston, you got Devontae. So, like, that's not how that works. Like, that'd be stupid. Joe Barry for his failings, whatever, like, he's not stupid, you know? So he wouldn't have said that. That's just kind of how the coverage worked out, because that was the part of the field that like Preston was at. And so like there were moments though that I think you could criticize as far as like scheme or calls where, when it was in the red zone and the some of the defensive players, I forget who it was exactly, as maybe I can't remember who it was like lined up like feet on the end zone. Like, no, you need to be up tight. Like, keep the guys from like getting in. Like, what are we doing here? So there were a couple of moments that's like were inexplicably bad, but in the end, holding them to 17 points, 3 of which came off of a turnover, from a field goal. Like,
I
mean, that's good.
I know.
Good.
It was.
So, yeah, it's frustrating because it seems like Joe Barry does these things, or where it turns out good. Oh, what you're asking, is it scheme? Is it coaching? Is it players? I think it's players definitely
Seems like
executing
it.
a scheme that isn't awesome but works. And I
Mhm.
think that the reason it has to be players is because it just seems like the way they must be installing stuff, the way they're practicing stuff, the way they're doing everything during the week
Mhm.
doesn't seem to be effective from like what they're being told to do. And it kind of feels like the players just like taking it, their own hands, like we're just gonna go out there, we're gonna play, we're gonna do our best despite like what little support we got during the week. And I'm definitely extrapolating here a lot. It's just kind of like what the impression is I get, but I could
Mhm.
be way off base on that. I definitely want to say because I don't think anyone knows for sure except for the folks
Right.
in the locker room and on the field.
Right.
But point being, all that rambling aside, right? I think it's the players that made it happen, despite the fact that everything else wasn't quite as good as it could have been.
I agree. I felt like it was the players, but as you all know who listen, I don't know nothing about football. I
False.
know
It's
nothing.
not remotely true, Don, but
That was just my gut feeling. It was also, and I'd love to hear your superlative of what Justice had to say about that. Why Preston Smith covered Devontae Adams. You want to tell us?
yeah, sure. Let's get into it. So my first
Right.
superlative,
Yeah.
it was actually the first one I was going to do, which is good, which is best written analysis. This is Justice Mosqueda writing for Acme Packing Company. The article is called "Why Preston Smith Covered Devontae Adams," and I think sort of what's the word? Kind of caused Justice, there's a better word, I can't think of it, compelled Justice to write this article is that I know right after the play happened, he had like a screenshot of it that he tweeted, was like, we're never going to hear the end of this one. So I think he's like, I'm just going to dig into it. Let's figure out what happened here, why did it go wrong.
Right.
So in this article, Justice gives this really great breakdown of like exactly what the coverage was there. It was like this 3 over under thing where there was like a deep post safety with the corners kind of covering the sides of the field, like along the hashes more or less into the sidelines. And so those 3 guys are kind of the over. There's 3 guys right under that, so that you have 5 guys on the line. And I think 4 of them rushed, and so one of them dropped back. And the drop back person then in that case has to be like an edge, an outside linebacker. And so that was Preston Smith on that side of the field. He's the guy dropping back so he can catch, some of the receivers. Unfortunately, that meant he was, right with Devontae. And part of how that works too is that because of just how the Raiders line up their guys, the specific formation they were in, that was causing the mismatch with what the Packers are doing, because what would have had to have happened was that McDuffie would have had to like cover the entire middle of the field. So like there was no way to check out of that quickly. There was no way to like fix it on the fly, especially because you had a lot of backup guys. What it was like, Quay Walker and of course Devondre Campbell weren't in. So you had your first 2, inside linebackers off the field. And those are the guys who usually wear the green dot. So even like who was calling the plays at that point for the defense? It was somebody who's not used to it. I should know who it was, but I don't. So if I say like, who could have caught that on the field? Well, they probably wouldn't have. Who could have like, fixed that bad mismatch? Kind of no one. So it's like either you burn a timeout, which is definitely not optimal in the second half of the game. You want to save those for the end for the, weird stuff that happens in the last 5 or 6 minutes of the game. So they weren't going to burn a timeout. That was, I think, smart. But what are you going to do? I mean, Andy Herman had made the point, like, just jump off sides, take the 5 yards, get the right, formation out there to actually match up against that. And I mean, the end result, like, Devontae broke off like a 20-something yard run, but that was the worst damage he did all night.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they really kept him in check. So it's like, yeah, we can find these things to like pick nits about, and like, we should, but at the same time, the bigger picture is that though Devontae Adams got that one, run that looked really nice, and it's fun to watch it, honestly, even those against us. Still, over the course of the game, he was held to very few yards, especially for someone as good as Devontae Adams. So, but this article, it was so good because like, all the rest of us untrained eyes are watching this and we're like, what are they doing? What are they doing? And then it's like, well, okay.
So weird.
There's a good reason for this. Here's how it happened. Joe Barry should have done something differently. It should have been different coverage, but like this is what happened. And so it's like, okay. And just like the best of any sort of like scheme breakdown, article, anything like this. I mean, friggin' everything Justice writes. Let's be for real. You read it, you get smarter, you understand things better, and it's good stuff. It's good stuff. Highly recommend that article. I feel like everyone was talking about it. Everyone was retweeting it. And so it's one of those, it's like, it almost feels like too obvious to use as a superlative, but like, it's just that good that we can't not talk about it. So for those folks who didn't see it, of course, all of the links will always be in the show notes and description and stuff like that, as always. But if you haven't read that, like, what are you doing? Go check that out. It's so good.
I haven't read it. I wasn't allowed to read this week because I smashed my head.
Yeah. You have an excuse, Don.
I did listen to some stuff, so I did light work. And hello, Iowa Joe. Hello, people. Nice to see you. I felt like Preston was everywhere. He was really playing all over. I mean, maybe because of that play, it was just like Preston Smith. He had a good night, don't you think?
He did.
Yeah.
He had a really good night. Yeah.
Yeah.
Him and who else had a good night last game? I want to say.
Rudy Ford.
Rudy Ford had a pretty good night. I was thinking of Sewell. Rasul Douglas had a really good
night.
Yeah,
Rasul did. Well, yeah. So. I mean, I love our team. I'm not. I mean, sure, it's much more fun to watch them win, but this is what it is this year. You know, I also felt like, and this is not a criticism or anything. It's just I just felt like, and I think it's actually good that I feel this way. If true, that Jordan Love. I could feel he got a little more frustrated. He's so cool and calm and confident. I could feel him feeling like, oh, geez, you know, a little bit more. Yeah, like, oh, geez. I'm sure that's what he was thinking.
I'm sure.
I love how tough he is. I love that play where he stiff-armed Max Crosby.
Yeah.
Like he was some kind of a play doll or something. I just like that was fun. But no, I felt like Jordan is like, oh man. So it's getting real for him. You know, it's as the time goes on, as it will. So, but I just, it is what it is. I'm still very thankful for the ending that we saw in person.
Yeah.
We can't expect that every week.
That's the thing. It's like an exceptional moment. Like,
oh my gosh, it was so exceptional. I'm still flying high from that. Really.
I don't have to think about it. Just smile. You know, it just makes me so happy.
I know. It was so fun. Everyone in the around was just hugging and cheering, and the whole Lambeau field just lit up. It was really a great moment to experience. I'm glad we were there. It's so worth it. Okay, so my first superlative, I kept things light this week. And I'm looking at yours. Nope. Okay. So this is not from our wonderful Packers content creators, but it's about one of our wonderful Packers. So it's and I called it The Most Touching, and it's a football life origins, Aaron Jones, and that's from NFL Films. I don't know if you saw that. Yeah.
No, I didn't see it.
It's very nice. So that's all I'm going to say. The link, the video will be in the. It's his mom, clips of his dad, him speaking, his brother. They're so cute. I love Aaron Jones so much.
Oh, he's just so great.
I mean, he's
as a person, as a player.
Oh, he is just the best. He's just so if you haven't seen that, it's on NFL.com. And again, that link will be in the description. I called it The Most Touching. And again, it's a football life origins, Aaron Jones. And they do a different player every week.
So like, how long of a watch is that? How long is
this? I think it's about 21-ish minutes, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it's not short. I could be wrong. Let me look.
So sort of a lunchtime video. Like sit down, get your lunch.
Yeah.
Pull up the video.
Yep. And you could listen to it too. You could treat it like a podcast. You don't, but it is good footage. It is. It's, you know, him sitting there on the couch and with his beautiful smile and, you know, yeah, it's really, it's a nice video.
I love that. Yeah, videos about that long, you know, that's what I tend to do during lunch. I get a little bit of work done, and then you know, check out something. A lot of times lately, it has been the Coach series from Tom Grossi. I'm in the midst of the 4th season. I don't know if anybody here listening, or if anybody, or Dawn, if you've watched any of these. The 4th season gets real confusing. I'm trying to follow it. I'm trying to get with it, but a whole lot of characters are suddenly introduced. I'd recommend checking it out, but it is. I mean, it's really good. But anyhow.
See, I'm the opposite. I wait for seasons to end and then binge them.
Nice. Yeah. Had at the time, that'd be amazing. But.
Yeah, right. I shouldn't because I'm trying to work on. When I was back in Wisconsin, it's like, oh, I've got my sleep wakes because my mom was getting up early. Plus, it's 2 hours late.
Different, yeah.
Whatever it is. So I came home and I'm like, oh yeah, I can be normal again and wake up in the morning. And then I was so sick. I was so sick with so many different things that hitting me. It's not that I'm so sick from any one of them. It's just like everything plus exhaustion. So like I had a very minor case of shingles. I got the COVID shot. I got sick from that. Then I got the flu shot. I got really sick from that.
My goodness.
Then I got hit in the head, and it was, I mean, like the flu shot gave me like the flu-ish for 3 days. I couldn't talk. My throat was, so I was having fever and chills. And so I was just like, oh my God, but my body ached, all of the flu stuff. So I was like, might as well have had the flu, But anyway, so I'm not seriously ill, everybody. I'm fine. I just had a lot of things piled up on top of each other. Plus I got about 3 hours of sleep with my mom for 3 weeks. So yeah, I am thoroughly exhausted, but I'm happy as can be and I'm fine.
It's been a nice relaxing weekend to sleep a lot, watch some football, some low stress football. I thought the Packers playing this weekend.
That's right. Oh, and I was a little disappointed when I came home because I don't have a drip system. I didn't think I needed one because I thought I was only going to be gone for a week. So I had this massive flowers on my balcony. Half of them were dead. And so my friend took me out. I was like, I want to go do something. She took me out and we were going to go buy some. I was like, no, I'm not going to buy anything. It's going to be winter and I'm going to change everything around. Not that we really have winter. I have so many flowers that I bought today.
Oh, well, nice.
So I'm gonna have to, I mean, I found all these beautiful flowers and she's like, Dawn, I don't even think you should be standing up. You look white. I was shaking. I was like, oh. But then I drank a Mountain Dew and bought some flowers and came home and rested for a while and I'm good. So flower therapy.
Flowers. Yeah. It cures what ails you.
It does. Okay. Right. What's your next one?
Yeah, my next one. So my first one was best written analysis. This is best written analysis. This next one is best tweeted analysis. So this is from our pal Tyler Herrick. This is the tweet. I'm just going to read it. It was right after the game, of course. It was love stunk tonight. That's what happens when you've only played 6 NFL games as a starter. Your head coach peed his pants when his top running back was out. Your makeshift O-line couldn't block, and you're throwing to kids in diapers on poorly designed plays. Like, oh damn! Like I feel like he diagnosed in tweet form and with plenty of shade that was very effective and funny. Diagnosed a lot of the things that were why the offense just kind of stank it up on Monday. Right? Because like I said, the defense did great. They held up their end of the bargain. Special teams was fine. Especially Dawn, the best moment. My man Yash Nyman blocking a field goal. I was just our man, Yashi. I forgot about that one too. That was so good. Other two phases did their part, So for Tyler to jump into that tweet, he just nailed it. It was perfection. It was great stuff.
That was good. Yeah, I did see that one. That was very good.
So what's your next one, Dawn?
Okay, my next superlative is also a tweet. Okay. Okay. This is most interesting, and this one will fall within the fraternizing with the enemy subcategory. I was surprised to take such delight reading Kurt Benker's tweet about Kyle Shanahan. Because the one thing I try to do when I really dislike somebody, I really try to work on that and find things to like. I really try hard because I don't like to be some people are on my team, but he's a human too. And it's like, do I just dislike him because he wins all the time? Or is there, what is it? I think he reminds me of somebody. Anyway, I'm just going to read some of it. It was pretty long, but I'm going to give you a summary. I thought it was really great. Kurt wrote, hi, Tosh. Kurt wrote, someone asked me what stuck out most about Shanahan to you. As you may know, if you're listening, Kurt Benker was QB2 for a little while, or 3 with the Packers. And then he unfortunately was cut. We loved Kurt, and he did go to the 49ers for a while. And that's why he was asked that question. So he said, here's my response. He's a learner. He would go to the ends of the earth each week to find answers for that week's game plan. and he wanted to hear all perspectives, including players. And he had reasoning behind every decision he came to as to why a play was in that week. It didn't matter to him where the ideas came from or the plays even. It just mattered if he thought they could work. He said he can flip the switch from being a dude to a coach like the best of them. And again, he wrote a lot more than this. This is just the highlights. And he said, you can nearly leave your blind faith in him, that he's done all the work. I'm not sure he meant to say it that way, but he has done all the work to get the plan ready. And now, and as a player, it's on you to do your part to play into the plan. So in other words, he just instilled a ton of confidence because of the way he prepared. And it sounded like, although these weren't his words, he just took the ego out of it. Just whatever it's going to take to win. Doesn't matter whose idea. And very open. And I just found that very helpful to me to look at him a little bit differently. And I think we should, not to be lectury or anything, but it's a good idea to try to do that with everybody. If you feel like you don't like somebody, look for redeeming qualities, because we're much better off when we like each other and not fighting with one another, right? Yeah. Did you catch that tweet?
No, I caught some of the other Beckert stuff from this week, but I'd missed that specific part. So no, I like that, because I feel like we don't know Kyle Shanahan, and
right.
So it's easy to develop sort of, misinformed, underinformed opinions about who he is. I mean, for me, mine is definitely both of those. Misinformed, underinformed. My feelings about him is he reminds me of Kendall Roy from Succession, except if Kendall were successful at stuff.
There you go.
That's probably unfair.
Right.
Right. Very successful for sure, though. But so to hear that kind of like deeper, more informed perspective about like various people, I do appreciate that immensely, and I really like your mindset, Dawn, about like, let's try to find things about a person to appreciate, and to find like the good in someone. So love that. Yeah,
and that's kind of what my Fraternizing with the Enemy is about, because we love football. We of course love our team, but I am not one to be real tribal, and so I think that's a real danger that we have as humans, and we don't need to do those things. But I mean, of course, we're all imperfect, but we try. And so when I first saw it, I was like, oh, I don't want to hear about Keisean. And then I was like, no, Dawn, read it, see what he says, and I just took myself out of it. And yeah. If he's good enough for Kurt Benkert, he's good enough for me. But I still want to beat him.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like every single time.
I think he reminds me of somebody annoying that I grew up with, for one thing. And he also, it's the whole nepotism thing, that if somebody's got a daddy in the NFL, I just already am like, they've got a leg up on everybody else. They might not be that great. So that's partly my attitude about him. And of course, being such a huge rival. Yeah.
A team that has knocked us out of playoffs more than once.
Such a bummer.
A lot of heartache they've dealt us. So yes.
Yeah. So that's where I was coming from. So I hope anyone, if you haven't seen it, you might take a look at it during our bye week. We have a little extra time, maybe. Yeah. That's
true. All right, Don, should I do my last one?
Yeah, what do you got?
All right, so I feel like the theme here, my last one is going to be best spoken analysis. So I have best written, best tweeted, and best spoken analysis.
I like it.
Here tonight. And a lot of the reason for that is the thing we've talked about before. Like going into games, you want to have like you have questions, like what's going to happen? You want to know what's going to happen. So both of us have talked about that's part of what drives us to listen to a bunch of podcasts and read a bunch of articles and watch a lot of videos. Like what's going to happen? We want to know. We want answers. We want to see what's going to happen. And then after a stinky performance, you want to be like, what happened?
Yeah.
How did that happen? What the heck?
Yeah.
What happened? So
what happened?
Definitely, this has been a week for me of looking for analysis for these things to understand how the game played out like that. So, thus the thread for me of analysis. Now, before I get into who actually gets the best spoken analysis superlative from me for the week, I feel like as a disclaimer about it, or maybe as a intro, I should say that. So this guy has shown up a lot lately in my superlatives. So this is one of those where I'm gonna have to be like, okay, he's gonna get a timeout after this. because I need to make sure I'm finding and giving
Right.
attention to other people. But anyhow,
Right.
Paul Noonan, hey buddy, how you doing?
Oh,
You are in for one more week. So this is best spoken
my
analysis
gosh.
from Paul Noonan. This week on reporting is eligible. It was just him. So I mean that's not easy because normally he can bounce stuff off of Matub and J.R. Radcliffe. They'll bring the different personalities and perspectives into it, which makes a really good mix. So this week, Paul had to do a solo show, and even though his voice was kind of worn out from like screaming at a kid's soccer game, I think he was saying, he still soldiered on and answered like every question people sent, which was admirable because there's a lot of questions he had to get through. But anyhow, he started the episode with his kind of like typical, very erudite analysis of what happened. And so the way how he diagnosed it had a lot to do with the Raiders figuring out like what are the things that we're good at and not good at, and realizing that Jordan Love has been really good at throwing to like the middle of the field and not great anywhere else so far. At least
which is so ironic.
Right? It is, isn't it? It's very strange.
It's so strange.
So realizing that's where he was best, they just really just crowded that, and made sure that they're taking that away from Jordan Love as much as possible. So though he can complete, balls other places, it's much lower chance of success. So that did a lot to limit the offense. And then the fact of the matter is, our O-line hasn't been great lately.
The O-line,
that's hurt the running game consequently. And then without Aaron Jones, it made it probably a little bit easier to take away things that would have been good because those were just people who weren't on the field, So like, Aaron's in the chat with us here. Happy to have you here. So, just the way how Paul kind of ran down, like this is why these things happened, made a lot of sense. And he's one of like the loudest, I think, voices of like Joe Barry's terrible. So he had to do a little bit of like Joe Barry wasn't terrible this game. Like he's still not a good coordinator, but like at least he didn't stink this time around. So, but yeah, I feel like
40-0.
What's that?
At least we didn't have 40-0 loss.
Seriously, exactly. So to go from where I'm going, like how did they do that? This isn't like an amazing team, to like hearing a really good breakdown of what it was that made a lot of sense, was easy to digest, and like really brought a lot of illumination to it. Was great stuff. So I've obviously been a huge proponent of reporting as eligible lately, especially they had me on the podcast last week, which is a huge thrill. So like so I think I've talked about them a lot lately, and I'll try to find other people to talk about in the coming weeks. Because
it's also a great name for a podcast. I love
it's such a good name.
Yes.
I love it.
I love it.
Yep. So that last one, best spoken analysis, goes to Paul Noonan. All right, Dawn, you have one more?
I have one more, and this one is, it is most interesting. No, sorry, that was the last one. This one is most motivating. This is a little corny. I mean, it might be corny. I just felt like this week, I think I gravitated to some of the more uplifting kind of content away from what happened to the game, because I just wasn't ready for it. Plus, my brain is broken, so I just wouldn't have been able to comprehend anything I was taking in. So, and this goes to our Packers report. I believe this is Wes. I believe this might have been Mike's, because Mike is digital director, right? In any case, it's from Packers.com. It's called Keisean Nixon's Motivation. And in the subtitle, and this is a video, and it's about obviously Keisean Nixon, who we love. And the subtitle is, at the height of his all-pro 2022 season, Green Bay Packers returner / cornerback Keisean Nixon faced a challenge off the field, which I don't remember hearing about, but I could have just forgotten. But in any case, his mother, Dwanique Spiller, was diagnosed with breast cancer, and Keisean shares their story. And this is also part of the Packers versus Cancer series. So also very heartwarming, and it's really neat to get to know our players and their stories and what makes them tick and what makes them so good. Because as we all know, so much of this game, so much of any sport or anything we do is mental, not physical. Of course it's physical, but this sheds a lot of life on his mentality and his emotions and his motivation. So I think it's just a really perfect bi-week video to watch.
Oh, I love that. I saw that being tweeted around a little bit. I haven't got a chance to watch it yet, but I'll definitely check it out. It's like a 5-minute video, right? Like pretty quick.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty quick, but very professional and very thorough. Yeah.
I'll ask Wes who we should give credit to for that. It might be a team of people, of course, but because that way when we tweet out about it this weekend,
right,
we can give the proper credit for that.
I think it was Wes. Let me just look real quick. I think it was Wes who I saw tweet it, but I could be wrong because I'm not sure who does the Packers versus cancer, and that might be somebody different. So we can ask Wes for sure. Yeah. Yep. So those are my 3. I'm happy with them. Nice and light. Not going to be hard on our team or myself or anyone else. You just got to be where you are with it. And if you're upset, that's understandable too. But this is going to be a roller coaster year for sure. It's a new team. It's a young team. I'm just into the young team part of it, and for those who, are still hanging on to, the whole Aaron Rodgers things, like he's out for the whole year. We could have been dealing with that. So you just can't.
Be in the same place with less money and less draft picks.
That's right. Just enjoy the ride. I mean, just enjoy the ride. It's a roller coaster. I didn't scream, but I could have.
quick comment here from our pal Joe. He said, talking about the Packers against cancer thing. That's interesting. I didn't know the Packers did that. I was actually writing up something for our new website about Crucial Catch hitting close to home.
Oh, nice, Joe. Very nice.
Watch for that from Joe Pearson, folks. That should be a good one, I'm sure.
And Erin Alice is in the house. She says hi to Erin, Iowa Joe,
hi,
and
Joe.
to us. Hi, Erin. Hi,
Just
Erin. Yay! It's kind of a quiet night. It's okay. Doesn't it seem like, I don't know, it's darker now? It's getting darker. Like it's getting to the point now where we go live, and it's dark. It's not. The sun isn't like blinding me, and I have to close the drapes.
I mean, like it's always dark for me in my time zone.
Okay.
So I'm like,
I'm feeling it.
Feels the same as always.
Oh, sorry. Well, I'm feeling it, and I'm feeling like even though the weather's exactly the same all the time, it feels like fall.
The weather's been exactly the same over here. We had like a week of like beautiful crisp fall, and then this week I was like, but how about the 80s? Don't you miss the 80s? It's like, no, I don't. Please, fall weather, please. So that's been a little.
I will say the nights are a little cooler here. We're getting mad, but when I flew in on Saturday night, there was just a beautiful sunset that we flew into, and fall and winter we have our best sunsets here. Nice. Just so beautiful. Yeah. So I'm feeling it. And I bought some like black flowers. I do tend to buy a lot of blue and black flowers, kind of the exotics, and like they look like black velvet. And so I'm not into orange and yellow and Halloween crap. I'm not into Halloween at all, but I always like black flowers. And so they tend to make them. They tend to grow hybrids to sell black flowers this time of year. And the reds and the really darker colors. So that's cool.
Nice.
Yeah. So any final thoughts before we take off, Maddie?
I think my only thoughts would be like, as we go into the bye, first of all, let's not give AJ Dillon a hard time for streaming and playing video games. It's the bye week. He can do what he wants to, but kind of similarly, like it'll be interesting to see what sorts of things our favorite content creators like, scheme up and dream up for this coming week. So kind of stuff they have up their sleeves. Right. So really interested to see that. And in fact, I think that Sandwich was hinting that I think she might be a guest on Last Call Lambo this week. We'll find out in the morning because they probably just recorded. So looking forward to that. I hope she's back for this week because, of course, her and Monty and Aaron together are fantastic.
Oh, yes.
Hoping for that. And
Aaron
mentions in the chat. She says today is National Farmers Day. Let him farm. And I think also dropped a perhaps, but what I was saying. So we'll see it. We'll see on Friday morning if we get that in our ears.
Yeah. So for those who aren't familiar with Last Call Lambo, and believe it or not, there might be a couple people. When is that? Where do people watch or listen to that? Is that a YouTube channel?
No, that is a show
podcast?
that's, I believe, done through Game On Wisconsin. I think that's yeah, it is. It's through Game On Wisconsin, and it's our friend Aaron, who's in the chat here, and
Mhm,
Monty Moore,
mhm.
and they it's just a really fun show. It drops on Friday mornings. They usually record on Thursdays.
Oh,
And
okay.
it's 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 a football show, and it's a drinking game. So they get gradually
Drinking on
more and
Friday
more
morning.
inebriated throughout the course of the episode, which makes it funnier and funnier. It is always chaos and hilarious, and I love it so very much. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that coming out tomorrow.
Yeah, that'll be. I can't believe it's Friday tomorrow. By the way, anybody who's listening, I've got the game on the Chiefs Broncos. They're playing it in Chiefs territory. It's 16-0 Broncos. Broncos haven't scored yet. And that's funny. I love seeing Sean Payton and his little self lose another game.
Wow. That's awesome.
I mean, I look at him so differently now, like petty. What a petty guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so on Monday Night Football, I don't know why I think it was Joe Buck. Was it Joe Buck? I must have been listening to the halftime because I listened to the Packers.
Mm-hmm.
I don't usually listen. Anyway, I heard, maybe it was the after show. It was the after show. One of the persons, I can't remember who it wasn't Joe Buck, said, well, I know Sean Payton, and I'm sure he regrets that. Well, why doesn't Sean Payton apologize for what he said?
Well, let him apologize.
Yeah, he mentioned how he's being dragged on Twitter about it. And it's like, well, he's being dragged because he hasn't taken those words back.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think it came up because, of course, the Jets were playing the Broncos. So Nathaniel Hackett got the game ball. That wasn't Monday. What day was that? I don't know. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
It's all a blur when you've been hit on the head by artwork from Wisconsin.
I mean, the thing that fell on my head was a very heavy piece of art. It's framed with an antique frame, really thick, gilded type of thing. And then it has antique glass, which was very heavy. And it's a large piece. And it was high, like relatively high up. Mm-hmm. And I thought it was hung properly. And I kind of just was leaning over, adjusting some of the lighting for it. And it just went bam. And it whiplashed. Like, this is my bad part of my neck where everything had to be like rebuilt. Mm-hmm. It hit me so hard that I bit my lip and my lip was bleeding. I was like, oh, it was like instant headache, like instant wah. I was just, please, can I just have a moment of peace?
That is rough.
So then I had to be on concussion protocol and yeah, I mean, it wasn't just a small thing and it was so dumb. Oh, and then like the next night I was supposed to be resting for 2 days and I was out trying to clip back all these dead flowers to decide how many more flowers I need to buy and to replace them. And it was evening and I had kind of watered and I was clipping and Tosh was out there and we were just having a nice time out on the balcony. It was like sunset time. And I set the clippers down on the top of this big planter I have. And I have twinkle lights. So there were lights on. Well, I went when I finished to grab the clippers and I got shocked, like electrocuted. I'm like, and because of the head injury and my neck was whiplashed, I thought it was just because that's the part of the neck that innervates your hand. And that's how it felt when I was paralyzed when I first injured my neck. And so I was like, oh man, my neck is really sore from that yesterday. Mm-hmm. And then I went and grabbed it again because I didn't realize. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm being electrocuted. And I dropped it. It was like, I just need to go in and like wrap myself in a sleeping bag and tie it up at the neck.
Yes. I mean, Joe's saying in the chat here, wait, I missed the story. Did Dawn's cat try to kill her again? Always, Joe. No. Always. And I think these are good examples. Tasha's like, just like, nudging the artwork off the wall until it falls on your head and like chewing on the wires until like you could get electrocuted, grabbing them, So, yeah. This is Tasha's handiwork for sure.
See, she's meowing. She knows you're talking about her.
Exactly. She's like,
Anyway.
don't give away my secrets. Don't
Oh
expose
my
me.
God. No, she's an angel. She's the best
Mhm.
traveler on earth. I can't wait to take her on another trip. It's going to be great. She's so great. Anyway, yeah, it was just, I don't know, man. It's hilarious and sad.
Yes. I mean, and I almost feel bad like laughing at all this because like it's really terrible. All the stuff I've been through, but it's also hilarious. So.
It is hilarious. I mean, I have to laugh. I have to laugh.
You have to. Yeah.
It's just like, I'm speechless about the whole thing. All right, guys. Well, hey, it's been great seeing everybody here in the chat.
Yeah,
no, Tasha's not trying to kill me. She's not. And do you have any final thoughts? You didn't get electrocuted or concussed this week?
No.
Well, then what are you doing?
Looking forward to seeing what we're getting in the coming week from our favorite creators. So that was all I had to say about that.
That's right.
You know, and just watch some stress-free football, folks. Should be at least a couple of games. But yeah, Dawn, I'll bring it home. Here we go. Right,
bring her home,
friends. Of course, you'll find links in our show description for everyone we mentioned. So please check it out. Also, we'd love to have a chance to interview you and shout you out if you're a subscriber and a football fan. If you'd like to nominate someone to be a guest on our podcast, please let us know. Our DMs are open on all the social platforms. And folks, when you subscribe to our podcast, you help us to keep spreading the love in our community. And the best way to help this podcast grow is by sharing it. Please. Sharing it, please. With your friends and family.
Yes, Maddie, that's right. Because we love you. We're so glad to know you, to be fans of you, and have the luxury of being fans of the most storied team in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
We appreciate your support, your subscriptions, and sharing our pod. And we look forward to seeing you next week on
Hey, we like your pod.
Football in general comes down to discipline and people owning their roles. And when you aren't disciplined or you go outside the scheme, bad stuff happens.